Good morning, everybody. It's Dion Evans again. It's Friday, May 2nd. We are at the end of our first week of Reality Bites 5-minute devotionals. So I want to end the week talking about Samson and Delilah on a topic called It's Not Obvious. We know a lot about Samson and Delilah, at least we think we do. Whether we're in church or out of church, we know about the story of Samson and Delilah. It's been depicted in movies, it's been depicted in comic books, it's been depicted in TV shows and just folklore throughout time. What we know about Samson, at least what we think we know about Samson, is that he was this super strong man, probably looking more like The Rock in our own imagination. So whenever we see him depicted on the screen or in pages of a book, he has large muscles and a long flowing mane of hair. But that might have been a little bit to the contrary to how Samson was actually pictured in the Bible. If we go back to the 13th chapter of the book of Judges, we find out that Samson was not born in the particular type of way a baby should be born. An angel came to the mother and the father gave them directions on how he would be born, even from their standpoint of what they had to do. And then it told the parents that he would be a Nazarite. That's somebody that's consecrated to God. Nazir, from the word Nazarite, means to consecrate. So we had a consecrated person, consecrated man born unto God who had to make certain vows, had to have certain standards. But we find out more about that later. So we get here in the 16th chapter. Between chapter 13 and 16, Samson has done some amazing stuff, some great things, some feats of strength, some feats of will and determination that people are puzzled by, that they are baffled by. And we learn in chapter 16 that some Philistines come to Delilah, who was his wife. I mean, he found him a fine wife, somebody who was beautiful, somebody who tickled his fancy. And chapter 14, it actually says the word that she pleases me. So upon first sight, Delilah was what we call a brick house, a bad mamma jamma, any of those things that depict a woman of excellent physical character. This is what Delilah was. But we find out that she was a Philistine. And the Philistines were tired of the feats he was doing, tired of the embarrassment he was giving to the Philistine nation. So they said, find out from us why he is so strong, why he's so imposing. And what we find out is they didn't know. It wasn't obvious, which is our first key to let us know that he was not Dwayne Johnson. He was not The Rock. He did not have those kinds of muscles. He just wasn't there. Because if it was there, they would not have to ask, why is he so strong? Why is he so imposing? So what we find out here is that it wasn't an obvious choice. It wasn't an obvious strength. We find out that after he and Delilah played a little bit of cat and mouse as to why he was so strong, she said, oh, baby, you just mock me and lie to me. What's really the source of your strength? And he told her eventually, it's in my hair. If you cut my hair, I'll become like a normal man. So what did she do? He was sleeping. Cut the hair. Wakes up in the morning, finds his strength lost. So we're not going to finish everything today. We're going to have to pick it up on Monday. But what I want you to see is the first thing, that the strength was not obvious. And so for you and I, as we experience our day-to-day tasks and go about what we do and experience and participate in, many times people will look at you and not quite know where you get it from. Not quite know why you are like you are. Not quite know where your tenacity emanates from, not quite know where your strength emanates from, because for all intents and purposes, looking at you, you and I, we don't look like much. We don't have the trappings of a person that should have what we have and do what we do, because physically and at first sight, we don't see that. But when we deal with God, it's a weird kind of shift. It's a weird kind of component and chemistry, and that God often does not look or does not design from the outside in, but rather the inside out. And if you know anything about engineering and biology, the inside out is the more perfect part, the more effective part, the more impactful part. So as you go into your weekend, remember, when you get the looks and the stares and the snickers and the laughs and the questions and the inquiries about why you can do and how you can be all that you are and do the impossible great things that you do, looking like you are and having what you have, don't worry about it. Just tell them and tell yourself, more importantly, that it's not obvious. God works from the inside out. like you did with Samson. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend.